Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ambassador, thanks for being here today. Just a couple more folks today, but I want to go over just some of the wins, a lot of the wins that you've had in the last year or so since the election of President Trump and your confirmation as the United States Trade Representative in February 2025. The U.S. finally has an executive branch advocating for prosperity and growth for U.S. businesses. President Trump put you on a mission to stop unfair trading practices, open new markets, and boost the production of the United States. And you and your team have delivered on this mission, but the work, as you've noted today, is not done. Nevertheless, I want to pause today and reflect for a moment about the wins you and the President have had over the past year. I want to show you the big board behind me. $2.2 trillion in new investments into the United States committed by foreign governments through your negotiations in cooperation with the work of Secretary Lutnick and the Department of Commerce. You have actively engaged our trading partners and established 18 deals through trade agreements, frameworks, and investment commitments. The U.S. has secured commitments by 9 countries, as you said earlier, not to impose digital services taxes or other discriminatory digital measures, and Canada's digital services tax has been repealed. And we have now seen a 32% reduction in goods trade deficit with China in 2025. That's a win, 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 and win. And a lot more wins that we could talk about, things like the launch of the agreement on the reciprocal trade program that expanded market access for U.S. workers and firms. And the President implementing his policy in April 2025, since he actually engaged in that, trade deficit and goods decreased on a year-over-year basis every month through December 2025. New investments in the auto industry, as you mentioned, and many, many more. Ambassador Greer, can you tell us more about how these achievements have benefited everyday Americans and why these achievements are particularly significant to the future growth of our economy?
Well, thanks for going through the hit list on that. Let me just give you a couple of thoughts on this. Under President Biden, wages for manufacturing workers dropped by $830. Under President Trump, in 1 year, wages for manufacturing workers have gone up by $2,400. Overtime hours for manufacturing workers have increased. Manufacturing productivity has increased. And last quarter, for the first time, we've seen positive manufacturing jobs numbers since a huge loss during the Biden years. So the very things we're trying to do, reshore American manufacturing, it's happening right now. And along the way, we're getting foreign market access to get historic export numbers. We're making sure our digital tech companies are being treated fairly. And we're attracting new investment here in the United States to create jobs here that are good for the working class.
Yeah, you're doing it successfully, and even though there's a lot of naysayers here today that want to badmouth the progress that we've made, it is great progress for the American economy and great progress for the American worker, and it's incredible that we've achieved it just in the last 15 months. Let's talk about the EU-U.S. trade deal. On March 26th, the European Parliament voted to advance the U.S.-EU agreement on reciprocal, fair, and balanced trade, originally agreed to last July. As stated in the agreement, the U.S. and the European Union share one of the world's largest economic relationships, supported by mutual investment stocks exceeding $5 trillion. I think we need to leverage this strength, and I welcome efforts to strengthen our economic partnerships and relationships with key allies like the European Union, particularly where we can reduce barriers to U.S. exports and ensure fair trade practices while fostering our partnerships in other key areas and excluding China and their undue global influence across the world. How do you see this U.S.-EU agreement of reciprocal, fair, and balanced trade to improve market access for American producers, and what steps will be needed to ensure these commitments are fully implemented?
So right now, the European Parliament bill, which they approved, is going through a process called trilogue. This is something where it goes through the different bodies of the European Union for final approval. And again, this bill, it reduces all tariffs for the U.S. on industrial goods, and it provides a number of duty-free quotas for U.S. agricultural goods. And I'm in conversation with my partners in Europe right now on eliminating non-tariff barriers. So this is a huge opportunity. Our trade deficit with Europe is already going down. It's really big, but it's already going down, and I think it'll be in even better shape after this goes through.
Fantastic, and I appreciate your work on critical minerals as well. I've got some questions on that, but my time is short. I want to say this in conclusion. What I hear from my constituents is that consistency is key for their investments. You know this, and you're working on that. You and the President have reordered global trade and have put Americans first on the world stage, and we're appreciative of your efforts. Now we need to make sure that our industries can plan on these agreements and make them permanent. For the past 4 years prior to the Trump administrations, Americans had to rely on trade relations that took advantage of Americans and allowed our trading partners to profit off of our innovation. We must now ensure that the U.S. never regresses back to those relations, and I stand ready to make sure that President Trump's historic trade agreements and your hard work remain lasting. And with that, I yield. Thank you.